All right, so we're gonna give this a little test here. I wish I would have been able to handle and lock in the tablet, but we won't. We'll just go with this. So the question is, hey, I have a bulge disc. I have some problems in my back, whatever it may be. Herniated disc. It's calmed down. Hasn't had a flare up in a while, but I'm concerned about it. How can I treat it? And first, I tell you, hey, seek professional help. Make sure that everything's correct in the spine, everything's working well. But what I can tell you is from my knowledge and what I've done with athletes and myself, that there's a lot at play here, right? So there's a lot of like core activation that needs to start happening. There's a lot of obviously glute med and hip stabilization that needs to start happening, and how to actually use your abdomen, your transverse abdominis inside of exercise. So that being said, let's look at actually the question. So the question was, hey, how can I make my back feel better? What can I do? And so I gave a layout of, hey, you want to do some exercises, which we call is prehab or rehab work, also known as fluff in our gym. So you got to do some fluff work. And then also too, you gotta do some self myofascial release. You got to hit the psoas, you have to hit the piriformis, and all this stuff. And so we overload this guy on this question. And so he asked me 10 questions, right? So it's my own fuck up that I gave him too much information. So there became more questions to it. So therefore, I'm going to go ahead and answer these questions. So question number one. So both warm up fluff and post workout fluff. So inside of the protocol, there is a protocol in there that states that, hey, this is what you're going to do inside of the next 8 weeks. Inside there is a portion where it specifically says sample post-workout fluff, right? So, and what we talk about with pre and post fluff is, imagine that if you were going to go to a physical therapist or if you get actual prehab work, it's going to tell you, hey man, you got to do this stuff 3 times a week. And the problem with prehab work is that it's boring as fuck. So a lot of people don't like doing it. They don't like staying consistent with it. So they'll fall off of it. But this is going to require you to put forth somewhere around 6 to 12 weeks of effort to really start feeling better and move forward. I always tell my athletes, hey man, if you get injured, you're going to have to have a small gap. If you don't feel better within a couple of days and you know something's broken, obviously go check it out, get some imagery on it. But if there is this ability not to want to get imagery on it, then you have an 8-week window, 8 to 12-week window. Outside of that, if it's not feeling better and you do this fucking work and you're doing rehab shit for 3 times a week for 12 weeks or 8 weeks and it's not better, it's time to fucking get imagery. So that being said, the question of, do I do both warm up fluff and post workout fluff? Well, if you're real injured, the fluff is actually your workout. So if you've injured your upper body, your fluff is your prehab rehab work is your upper body work. So if you were to have a lower body and upper body split, then Monday would be your lower body. You can hit that normal. Upper body day would be fluff. Same thing if you have a lower body injury like your hips or your back or your leg, then perhaps you're not going to be working your lower body in a certain way, but your upper body becomes your primary worker. Okay, so now you got an understanding of how you're going to address it based off of the source of the injury. Let's say that it's just mostly maintenance or it's something that's kind of mild. All right, well, to answer this question is, you get 3 sets. You want to do 3 sets of 15 of like 2 to 4 exercises for your prehab and rehab work. Okay, so then you do all 5 of those sets, all 5 of those exercises, 1 set of 15. That's part of your warm up. Then you do 2 sets, 2 sets at 15 reps as part of your fucking cool down. So again, I'll explain that again. You have 5 exercises, 3 sets, 15 reps, 5 exercises you're going to do in the beginning as part of your warm up, 1 set of 15 of each. And then as part of your cool down, you're going to do 2 sets, 15 reps of all 5 exercises. So that's how you would actually do it as part of your warm up and cool down fluff. If you're not able to do anything, it is your workout. The fluff is your workout. That's what you got right now. And that's what you can do. That's the way to do it. Then if you don't want to use it as your warm up, then it's your cool down or your cash out, or some people call it extra or auxiliary work. So that answers that question. Let's go ahead and delete that. Let's look at the next one. For post-workout, both the fluff and static stretching. So absolutely, absolutely. So you would do the 2 sets and then you would statically stretch. We like to do an agonist and antagonist, which in turn I think is another of the questions that we're going to ask here. So we like to, if we work the quad and we're doing quad exercises, then we like stretching the hamstring. Same thing if we're doing single leg RDLs, then we like to superset that with a quad stretch. So it's like just a little more efficient, a little more better bang for our buck. Also too, again, if I'm doing a bunch of psoas work or glute activation, I'm going to stretch my psoas and hip flexor so I can get a little bit more release and the ability to activate my glute, and vice versa, right? So I'm trying to get my hip flexor to activate for me, then I might actually start rolling out or stretch my piriformis to get more length inside there. So we like to work the agonist and antagonist. So one of them we like to lengthen, the other one we like to activate, and then vice versa. So that's something we like to do mostly too, because that's how you pull a muscle, right? That's how it's going to actually activate to pull. And you could actually just do all activation. So single leg RDL, bridges, whatever the fuck you're doing for your glute med. And then all of a sudden, as your cool down, you're doing a hamstring stretch, quad stretch, and like a glute stretch. That's fine too. So it can work both ways. We just like to kind of move around so it's not as boring, not as mundane. Okay, question number 3. How to fold into existing CrossFit program? Will this mean an extra hour per day, 15, 20-minute warm-up, fluff, 15, 20-minute post-workout, and 15-minute stretching? All right, so no, you should be able to go through the process of the 1 set of the warm-up fluff plus the monostructural movement, field or floor. And then as you're going through there, the sequence will get you through all of that stuff once. Then as a post-workout, you'll be about 15, 20 minutes. So really what it would come down to is about 80 minutes or somewhere around 75 minutes. So you're a little bit more efficient with what you're doing. Most of our classes and the way we structure our CrossFit program is about a 15 to 30 minute warm-up with a 15 to 45-minute workout. And that's including strength, that's including Metcon. And then you go ahead and have your cool down. Your cool down again is 15 minutes because you're supersetting the fluff with the stretching. And then again, it's more efficient and more bang for your buck. You can put in 90 minutes if you have the time to statically stretch 20, 30 minutes post-workout. I would sell that to anybody, but nobody will buy it. And that's what I try to tell people to do all the time, specifically my higher level athletes. You got to statically stretch. You got to put forth at least 1/3 of what you're doing in a day into stretching. So if I'm training 3 hours a day, I should at least be stretching 1 hour a day, 20 minutes, 3 times a day, every time I'm post-workout. But that's a whole other conversation for another time. In regards to the structure of the warm-up, right? We have a very specific warm-up where it's monostructural, activation dynamic, which we call a field or a floor. And then we put some skips in there if we want to, or things of that nature. Then we're going to go ahead from there. We're going to find ourselves into some lengthening or distracting. Then we're going to go into some activation or stability. Then we're going to go into some core or other prep work, prehab, rehab type work. Then we're going to go ahead, and the activation could be the same thing as prehab, rehab work. Then we're going to go into gymnastics. Then we're going to go into dumbbell or barbell. Then we're going to go into priming the pump. So that's our sequence for our warm-up. And again, that's a deeper conversation for another time, but that can be done inside of 15 to 20 minutes, inside of a 40-minute workout, as well as a 15, 20-minute cool down. Take you about 60 to 90 minutes. All right. Great question. Next one. Bam. 4. What location should I be self-myofascia releasing? All the locations. All the locations. So definitely want to hit your quad. You want to hit your rector femoris. You want to hit the T-drop, the teardrop. You want to hit your IT band, the inside of the quad, the outside of the quad. You want to hit your VMO. You want to hit your glute, your piriformis with the little lacrosse ball in your butt, not in your hole of your butt, but on the cheek of the butt, right? That's another conversation for another time. So I'm rolling out my glute. I'm working on that kind of stuff. I'm also using the peanut through my spine, and I can do like activation where the peanut's in my spine. I got a plate on my chest. I'm dropping, working on my thoracic spine, and also the ability to move. I'm rolling out my lats, my capsule, all that kind of stuff. I'm addressing my traps. So I could really start looking at the tissue that's poor and the tissue that's good. And I really want to address the tissue that's poor. When it comes specifically to the lower back, you know, the peanut, if you can handle it, works real well, or using a tumbler or something to add blood to the area is really good. And then also to the ball with the hip flexor, with the yoga block on top of it, the piriformis on the butt, rolling it around. Then you got activation of pumping the leg in and out with the ball on your glute. So it allows it to raw. You could do the hamstring with weight on it to really release the hamstring as well. The psoas, the so right with the, I think that might be another question you asked me too, is another good one to release the hip flexor and the psoas. Abdomen too, taking it actually into the abdomen and rolling out the abdomen is crucial. A lot of time we don't really roll out our abs and release that. And man, the hip crest, TFL, IT band, I said already. I mean, fuck, again, everything from the head to the toe is important. But specifically for the back, I really like the chirp wheel. I really like the peanut, the ball and the piriformis, and the so right on the hip. I really like those. And then releasing my rib a little bit because I got some fucked up ribs with using it for my lats, hitting my lats. Okay. Next one, let's delete this so it doesn't stay around here. Nope, that's not it. The power of positive thinking. Go fuck yourself. That's got to delete it too. All right, number five. What do you mean by activation exercise supersetted with agonist and antagonist? All right, we kind of talked about that, right? So again, I'm activating my rear delts and I'm stretching my pec. I am activating my pecs with some type of scap, band scap, and then I'm stretching my lats or stretching my rhomboid. I am doing single leg RDLs and I'm stretching my quad. I am doing some step ups or some single leg squat touchdowns to activate my quad, and then I'm stretching my hamstring. So that's what we're talking about, the antagonist and agonist. We actually go through a phase of this where we're back squatting and then we're supersetting that with hamstring stretches. Also, we're deadlifting and we're supersetting that with quad stretches. We're doing pull-ups and we're stretching our pecs. We're doing push-ups and we're stretching our lats. And we do that because, again, it resembles what's going to happen when we pull a muscle. So we want to influence the body, not to pull, which seems great. Very Gunther-like, very Gunther-like. Number 6, can you explain tempo? Yes, 101 to 422. I think I know, but want to confirm. All right, confirm that it is eccentric, isometric, and concentric. So the first number is the eccentric load. So wherever gravity is pulling it. So on a bench press, it would be 1, 0, 1, or 4 down, 2 hold, 2 up. If I'm squatting, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4 down, hold 2, up 2. If I'm deadlifting, it would be 2 up, hold 2, and then down for 4. So wherever the eccentric load or the negative is where it is at. So again, I'm doing fluff work for my shoulders. I'm doing band pull aparts or some fucking rotational cuff work. I'm actually going to go 1, 2 in, hold 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 back out. So wherever the eccentric load is where I'm doing it. Isometric load allows us to activate better, and it also allows us to move. So for me, when I teach activation, I really want it with control. So I want that 422 tempo. I want a really long, if you think about that, that's fucking 8 seconds. If I'm doing 10 reps, that's a minute and a half of just tempo work of 10 things versus 15, 1, 1, 1. It's the same thing. It's only 30 seconds. So I'm really trying to get a fucking burn activation. So it does a little bit of both. The slower tempo, obviously a little bit more hypertrophy, allows me to activate and hold the structure. And then the faster tempo is more endurance, allows me to burn and understand control inside of a fast environment. So that's why we like using both. Beautiful question. Okay, number seven. Any specific exercises for warm-up and stretches for warm-up fluff. You don't list a sample warm-up and fluffs. Yes, again, it's under where it says post-workout fluff. It says right there. And then there's a bunch of exercises. So sample post-workout fluff, single leg balance, 4-way band walks, stretch quad, stretch hamstring, step up, 90-degree, band bridge, band clams, and then stretch quad, stretch ham, hip rotation, bird dog, stretch glute, hip flexor, and so on and so forth. So the examples are in there, but those are some examples that I just gave you. Sky's the limit when it comes to fluff exercises. And then really it's about keeping the same fluff exercise for about 4 to 8 weeks, see what it does for you, see how you activate with it, and then go find another one. There's a bunch of fucking fluff exercises on social media. It's actually like an abundance amount of shit that you can find on that. So just look up activation of the quad or activation of the hip flexor or prehab work for my glute or underdeveloped glute teres minor, shit like that. Okay, great question. Number 8. Which phase of the phase of the post-workout fluffs is at A, B, C for the day, or pick either from A or B or C? No, so A, B, and C are the days of the week. So A is Monday, B is Wednesday, and C is Friday. So that would be how I would use it so I can segment it throughout the week. You know, A is day 1, B is day 2, and C is day 3. And you don't want to do them in order. So again, A is Monday, B is Wednesday, and C is Friday. So if I had upper body fluff and lower body fluff, I'm fucking full body cast. I'm actually going to do A, B, C, lower body on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then I'm going to do upper body fluff, A on Tuesday, B on Thursday, C on Saturday, and then rest Sunday. Or I could do this. I could do lower body on Monday, upper body on Tuesday, total body, upper body and lower body on Wednesday, maybe cut some exercises out. We use 5 exercises. So maybe we go to 3 or 2 or 1. So you cut some out and then you do total body Wednesday, Thursday rest, Friday upper body fluff or lower body fluff, and then Saturday upper body fluff. So again, that would be another split that I would have, which would be again, Monday lower body, Tuesday upper body, Wednesday total body, Friday lower body, Saturday upper body. It's a great way to look at it. A, B, C, great question. But again, A is day 1, B is day 2, C is day 3. And then it would be separated. There would be an ABC and an ABC for upper body and lower body. Great question. Okay, what do we got here? Ooh, we're almost getting to the end of it. Fuck, I'm gonna have to get them to give me some more questions. Of great content. All right, so 9. You mentioned the chip wheel and the so right. How to work those in? Okay, so you could use them inside of your power hour. So part of your fitness in the morning to get the blood moving. So you wake up in the morning. First thing you do is you take a pee. You drink your green drink or your protein, lemon with water, apple cider vinegar, kombucha, whatever the fuck it may be. Then you go ahead and you hit this chirp wheel up and down your spine 10 times, big one, little one. And then you do, or for time, 1 minute with the big wheel, 1 minute with the little wheel. And then the so right inside the hip flexors or the psoas into the abdomen. Oof, that's so nice. And into the quad. The so right also is into the VMO. It works really good for the VMO. It's hard plastic. It works nice. I really, really like it in that adductor hamstring complex, especially right in between. It works really, really well. You can also do it as a pre-workout. So you get to the gym or before you go to the gym, you roll out for about 3 to 5 minutes with the wheel, 3 to 5 minutes with the so right, kind of releasing. The piriformis too on the so right. It's nice as well. So again, I should probably drop a link inside of here and I could get some extra cash on that Amazon account. So, and I'm addicted to Amazon. So just a heads up on that. And the last one, should I buy a GHD or a reverse hyper? Yes, always buy a GHD and a reverse hyper. Another thing I should be giving is a share code for this. But when you look at your reverse hyper, if you have space for it, why not? If you have a back that's that bad, why not? If you want to develop that kind of core strength, Why not? Same thing with your GHD. Nowadays, they have a GHD that's convertible with it. The way we use the reverse hyper, we don't really use it for load. We use it for blood flow in the spine. So you could do it with bands or with no resistance. That's really how I use the reverse hyper. Even when I'm like out of commission and I can't load the back squat, I'll sometimes load the reverse hyper pretty heavy and get it up to about 500 pounds if I'm trying to keep my squat up back in the day. But outside of that, I mean, I really, really enjoyed using it 3 times a week to put blood into my spine. Even now, I do that when I get really sedentary with all the sitting and all the work, driving the desk. I'm going to go ahead and get out there, get some blood inside there. GHD is great. Full glute ham development is amazing, especially if you use it correctly, not only for hyperextensions for the lower back or back extensions, but also too for full hamstring development. A lot of people have a real hard time to go from that parallel position up to that 90-degree position, really developing that glute hams. You could probably have a little offset one too that hooks onto a cage now. So if you have a rack, it's like a little donut that hooks in, you hook your legs under there and you just negatively come back down, come up. Great way to develop your hamstring and glute strength. Reverse hyper, again, is a great way to get strength in the lower back as well as blood in the lower back. And again, there's other ways to get these inside of your gym, especially your home gym, or use the one at your gym. But if you have room for them, and you want a reverse hyper, I would tell you, yeah, they're kind of costly. I've lost friends over reverse hypers, so just know that they're definitely worth it. They're definitely worth it. Outside of that, man, that's about it. So I hope that answered your questions, and send me some more because this is phenomenal content. Thank you guys, and we will chat soon.